Hi, Don. Thank you so much for granting me this interview. How are you today?
I'm really well. How are you?
Great. So just jumping right in. So I read that Oscar Isaac actually brought up the Project Moon Knight while you were wrapping Dune. Is that right?
That absolutely. He brought it up. I would say, yeah. And we had a couple of days of pickups in during the pandemic, and he brought it up to me, and that's how I ended up part of it.
And really stunning work, by the way. Love the
Thank you.
show. You're welcome. So I'm kind of curious, how does your approach differ when you're working on like a comic book IP versus just something it's a little more like mainstream, or does it differ?
Well, it's a great question, really, because I think I treated it like a movie. I just treated it streaming, TV, movies. I just brought the same thing to it as I would working on a film or anything else, and coming up with ideas for Stephen and Mark, that kind of thing.
Okay. And were you familiar with Moon Knight, the comics prior to this?
You know what? I wasn't. I did look very quickly. I went to some comic book stores and I looked it up, and I was interested because I'd worked on a Spider-Man movie with Jake Gyllenhaal. So and it was interesting to me, and I found lots of things I could relate to, like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest or The Tenant and things like that with the personality disorder. So it was very cool to me.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So I guess what you're saying is like your process is looking at the source material and then sort of getting what vibes from that as far as inspiration goes.
Yes, yeah, because you have to present something to the actors and to the directors that you're looking at so that they get a visual sense of what you're going to do.
Okay. Now, what would you say was like a unique challenge to Moon Knight? Was there any one thing in particular that was kind of a hurdle?
I would say the biggest thing actually was the timing during the pandemic of getting things made. So for instance, with the Oscar doubles, the twinning of, his photo doubles, stunt doubles, Stephen Mark, he's got to act opposite his brother, Mikey. We have photo doubles. So you've got Mark, Stephen, Oscar has to change hair, makeup, costume. Then while we're doing that, change the doubles. So my team, whole hair and makeup team, are quite busy getting the doubles already so that over the shoulder, it looks accurate that you've got, because there's plenty of movies where you see a double that's shot over the shoulder or profile that you pick up the ear, the tip of the nose. So we had very good doubles that we did hair and makeup on. And that's why I had a fairly good, extensive makeup and hair team. And, blending that with hair, makeup, costume, visual effects, and cinematography to make that look seamless.
Yeah, and I think like hair and makeup is something that I think is so underrated. Would you say that that's accurate?
I think it's less so now than it used to be. People tend to think big makeup, big acting. I think they miss nuanced things. People think, oh, it's just makeup, or, certainly when you talk to the average, well, not average, and people, even on the crew, they think of makeup as like powder, but it's not. It's so much more. It's character, it's storytelling, it's character building. You're building a world. Or there are jobs where you are just doing hair. You're just giving a little haircut, or, you're trimming somebody's beard, but it's also continuity, making you, like with your hair and your beard, look the same. If you're playing you as you are right now for 6 months, the person doing your makeup and hair has to be able to make you look the same every single day. That takes some skill.
Yeah, and I think probably the biggest thing is if you're doing your job well, you shouldn't necessarily notice it. It should just be
Bingo. That's for me the price of admission for me, because makeup, making hair look like nothing was done to it is the bane of my existence, of finding a crew who can actually make someone look like they didn't touch their hair since they got up this morning. Like I ran a brush through my hair, which I did at 6:30 this morning, and I haven't touched my hair since. How do you do that? That's the craft of what we do. How do you look like you just shaved at 6 this morning, but it's now 9 o'clock at night? And so your stubble's coming through now. How do you go back and look like it's still 6 in the morning? So there's a lot, but that's the makeup, right? Of being able to understand. But not noticing is great. I love to not notice the makeup.
Now you've worked with so many amazing directors. Do you have one or two in particular that were your favorite to work with thus far?
Well, you know, I mean, without naming names, but I will. I mean, I've done 5 films with Denis Villeneuve, so that pretty much will tell you something. I've turned down a lot of other films to work with him. I like very much working with Sam Mendes, but haven't had a chance, you know, since Spectre. But there are other directors I'd love to work with again, like Damien Chazelle. It just didn't work out, or, you know, other things. But Denis, we've really tried to stay on course to work together.
Okay. Now, I know you touched upon this a little bit, but what are some of like the challenges that like present itself in your industry with like in a post COVID world?
Well, I think all the protocols and stuff, I think that was outrageous personally. I think that it was, I mean, it was COVID theater, wasn't it? If it was that dangerous, we shouldn't have been working. And, you know, inevitably, a lot of it was insurance and you know, theatrics really. It was terrible. The real world suffered terribly, terribly, terribly. And many people have never recovered. And that bothers me a lot. And we were, you know, we got tested all the time. Yeah, we had to wear masks. It was horrible. I hated it. But we got tested all the time. So we were in a very safe environment. I just felt bad for people who worked in like supermarkets that couldn't get a test. That bothered me a lot. And it bothered me on lockdowns that we were making movies and people were selling groceries who weren't getting extra pay. Or, you know, the fact that politically, I mean, I will say this, the fact that people were making more money on you know, the pandemic money was a very sad statement of what's happening, that jobs are so poorly paid that people were better off getting that money. Do you see what I mean? And that people were making more money staying at home because the jobs are paying so badly. That bothered me a lot.
Yeah.
So I started to really dislike the business actually during COVID, and it really brought the worst out of me.
Do you feel like things are getting a little bit better as far as
Yeah. I mean, I think it's realistic now. We're saying, you know, but the hours, we've still not addressed it. You know, we should have had this strike. We didn't. I think we've missed a lot of opportunities. This was a moment. We had our moment. We missed it. We got let down by a lot of people. It was a moment to say, why are we working 16 and 17 hours a day? There's no reason for it. People got sick. Yeah, I think the COVID was a moment. A lot of people left the business, and I respect it. I can't. I love what I do, but I don't love a lot about it. Put it that way. You know.
Now, if there is a second season, which there probably will be, will you be returning to do the hair and makeup?
You know, I would love to. I like my team very much. I mean, I don't know how that will work. I don't know, you know, it's, I would love to be invited back. Who knows how that works, where it shoots, you know, but I'd like to be invited back if I could, or, you know, we'll see what happens. I never plan to be going back to something till it happens, or somebody's on the phone saying, are you available?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, just, you know, to sum up, thank you again for, taking the time to talk about Moon Knight. I think it's such a great show. And like I said, I think you do a terrific job.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, like I said, I think I'm almost out of time, but thank you again. And you know, have a great day.
Okay, you too. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, thank you.